Welcome again to the Dr. Tanisha I. Ford Show. This show is really extra special to me because it deals with something that is so dear to my own heart. The name of this show is entitled, Where is My Father? And it's taken from the male perspective, the African-American male perspective of how they are raised by their mothers without their dads. And today's guest, I have a very special guest, and I'm so honored that he decided to join me today, Mr. Eldon Floyd. Thank you so very much for being my guest.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Eldon, what was it like growing up without your dad? What was your experience?
In the early years, it was like I didn't really notice a difference because it was so common. Other people didn't have their fathers around that I knew, dealt with, friends, associates, and I didn't really notice or think about it until I got older. That's when I actually thought about, why he wasn't around or...
So were you satisfied? I mean, you said you didn't really notice it, so what was going on during that time? Give me an age span. How old were you when you said you didn't even notice it? I mean, what was going on at that time that you didn't notice that your father was missing in your life?
It's not that I didn't notice that he wasn't there. It felt like it was normal because other children didn't have their fathers around either.
So you could relate to that.
Yeah, so I could relate to it. So it's like, it's so common that you somehow seem and feel that that's the way that it should be at an early age because that's how everyone else is as well.
Okay, tell me about your dad. So what did he do for a living?
He teaches.
He teaches?
Sociology.
Okay, so this goes to show you, oftentimes people think that because of the socioeconomic status of a person, like maybe a person who's poor, a person who may be in prison, a drug addict, that type of thing, those are the ones who are absent from the home. Those are the fathers. But you're telling me that your father was a professional man.
Yes.
Okay, and tell me about your mom. Was she also a professional woman?
Yes, she taught at a school, a vocational school.
Okay, let's take it in another direction. You said you grew up and you got to a point where it dawned on you that something was missing from your life. Because right now, when you were a little boy, it was the norm. All of your peers, they didn't have fathers either, so that was normal.
Yeah, it felt normal because no one around that I knew of had a father in their life as well as the mother too at the same time.
So then when it became impactful, how did that affect your life? What happened? Is it something that you can share with me that you did because your father was not in the home?
I felt that if I did have a father in the home, that I probably would have did more activities than running the streets, ripping and running the streets and hanging out with older people that was street active. I would have had more experiences as far as doing father and son activities, someone to take me to do recreations instead of me finding my own recreations.
Okay, you give me an example of something, if you don't mind sharing, something that may have happened to you in your life that you'd like to share, because your father was not in the home?
Basically, since my father wasn't in the home, my mother did a pretty good job, though, as far as trying to keep me active in stuff like martial arts, photography, golf, things of that nature. But I stray away and go to the streets, because, that's what the older guys was, and that's why I'm not going to say looked up to, but those were the people that taught me things that my mother couldn't teach me.
Did you ever get in any trouble?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us about that.
I was convicted of a felony firearm and went to prison for
How old were you
2
when
years.
that happened?
It happened back when I was 21, but I was out on the pills bond, and I just came home 2008, and I went in in 2008 and just came home 2010.
Okay, so when you got out, what did you do after that horrific experience? I know it was very horrific for you, being in jail or being in prison for that length of time. Did you ever think about when you were in prison that if I just had my dad in my life, maybe I would not have gone down that road? Did that ever cross your mind?
I felt that I wouldn't have got caught up in a lot of street activity that I did if he was around, because I would have had someone to tell me, basically keep me active and keep me out of the streets. But by then that my mother worked, I was ripping and running the streets with a lot of the wrong crowd at times. You know.
So who was responsible then for your navigating from childhood to adulthood? Because you said you did have some role models. So can you share with me who those people were? Who were they? You know, who did that for you?
One of my best friends, he's actually my god brother. His uncle kind of took us under his wing and, you know, told us what to do and what not to do as far as getting in trouble, not to get in trouble. And, well, we learned some street things from him too as well. So it's like.
But he kind of protected you, right? Because, I mean, you're here now, and, you know, and you feel pretty good about yourself. And you, like you said, you're aspiring. You do a lot of great things. You know, I know that you have an interest of having a nonprofit organization. You know, tell me about that.
I just started a nonprofit organization, Affidavit to Youth Ministries. It's basically a big brother mentoring program to do activities with youth so they don't find their own activities out here in the streets and get in trouble doing the wrong.
So do you pretty much take the kids in the neighborhood and you're starting right there? Okay, and you want to expand that, probably get a building or something? Or what are some of the activities that you want to do with the young boys? Because you are focusing on the men, right? The young men?
Men and women.
Okay.
You know, young men and young women, they both need guidance because I needed guidance too.
So we're gonna take a break right now, and everything, and when we come back, you know, we'll address some other questions.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll be
you.
back in a few moments after the commercial break.
You're sleeping on Rough Dog Entertainment. The package, the album, is in stores right now, featuring songs like Facebook Pro, D-Boy Thing, and we know y'all love that Chevy Sitting High. You can also download it on iTunes or Amazon. And check us out on Facebook, Moco Space, and YouTube. Rough Dog ENT. RUFFDOGGENT.
Wouldn't you like to know if you're the father? For professional DNA testing that costs less than a do-it-yourself kit, called DNA Dimensions. It's easy. With a simple swab of the mouth, you can put all doubt to rest. Confidential results in 3 business days. DNA Dimensions, with convenient locations in Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties. Walk-ins welcome in Detroit and Flint. Call toll-free 855-DNA-TEST. That's 855-362-8378. DNA Dimensions, removing all doubt.
Experience this life-changing story that will leave you refreshed, renewed, and inspired to face life's most challenging times. This is a comma, not a period in your life, by Dr. Tanisha Ford. You will never look at sickness and other life's challenges the same again. This is a comma, not a period in your life, by Dr. Tanisha Ford. Go to www.drtford.com to order today.
Wouldn't you like to know who the father is for professional DNA testing that costs less than a do-it-yourself kit called DNA Dimensions? It's easy. With a simple swab of the mouth, you can put all doubt to rest. Confidential results in 3 business days. DNA Dimensions, with convenient locations in Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties. Walk-ins welcome in Detroit and Flint. Call toll-free 855-DNA-TEST. That's 855-362-8378. DNA Dimensions, removing all doubt.
If you are just joining me, we're talking about where is my father? And we're looking at it from an African-American male perspective. And joining me right now is a professor from Wayne State University, Professor Derek Willis. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, glad to be here, Dr. T.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Pleasure's
Tell me
all
about
mine.
the area of study at Wayne State University.
Oh, sure. I'm an anthropologist. I do work on the African diaspora, and for the most part, my research looks at gender identity among black men and how their gender identity impacts their health and well-being and impacts the well-being and health of the community that they live in.
Okay, Professor Willis, your main emphasis, like you said, is the African-American family.
Yes.
With emphasis on black men and boys.
Absolutely.
Okay, why that? Why is that your passion?
That's a good question. You know, growing up in Detroit myself, knowing the impact that this idea of gender, how it's impacted me, I think of, you know, just being a black male myself. I grew up with my mother because my father died when I was 5 years old. So this idea of the role that men play in our lives was something that was very profound for me, because I realized when my father wasn't there, There were times when I had some problems, but having male figures in my life helped me out a lot. So, you know, I've lived certain things, but I want to go out and do research in this area and not just go with my lived experience, but do the actual research and see how I can be a sort of bridge to information and knowledge for the community in which I live in.
Okay, so you made a very profound statement. You made the statement that your dad passed.
Yes.
You see, oftentimes we look at the fathers being absent from the home as their choice. But here's a man who, it wasn't his choice to leave you.
No.
Because now beforehand, I don't know if you recall, but do you remember having a good relationship with your dad? Can you remember back that far?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Everything. So he died unexpectedly, of course. And
absolutely.
but I was looking now for Mr. Floyd.
Yes.
You know, he's a young man. Mr. Floyd, you know, your father left because he willingly left.
Yes.
Right? Okay, and your father left because of death. But it had the same impact.
Yes.
So that's what I want the audience to understand. I want them to understand that even though one left willingly and the other one left unwillingly, the impact is still there.
Yeah, there's still an impact, absolutely. For me, it was the fact that when he died when I was 5, and as I became, say, pre-adolescence, around 12, 11, you know, I started to have issues with authority figures because having an absence of a father in your life, sometimes you may lose respect for authority figures. You can stray and seek an identity out in these streets, you know, and you get raised by your sort of peers and stuff. You identify with street culture. But my godfather got me in the Boy Scouts, and he mentored me, and these things helped me stay on the straight and narrow. So I'm grateful to have that type of role model in my life, so I know the impact that men have. The absence of my father was a big part of, my mother was a great mother, but she could not control what I did when I stepped out onto the streets.
Right, I can relate to that.
And so she did a great job, and she was a very good mother, so I take nothing away from my mother. I learned a lot from her. But it's something about having men around, and if you feel abandoned, you know, even if your father dies, you still have abandonment issues at times. And if your father is alive and he chooses not to be in your life, that can even deal you know, that's a blow in itself. That's a bigger blow on some levels when you feel like your father's not there in your life and he's made the choice not to be in your life. Yeah, that has an impact too, a very negative impact. And sometimes, you know, I had a model for me. My father was married to my mother, and he raised us until he passed away. He helped raise us. So that model was given for me. I got work ethic from him, and this idea what a family is supposed to be about. But if you become absent in your kid's life, you create a model for them too.
Okay,
you know?
well, let me ask you this.
Yes.
What is the reason for the high rate of absent fathers in the African American community?
That's a good question, Dr. T. There's a number of factors that go on. Some of them, part of it, as far as a larger socioeconomic structural thing, you could say sometimes their relationship to the economy at some level has an impact on them. If they're unemployed or marginally employed, men feel like we should be providers. And for some men, if we're not providers, we may say, well, what's the point in
So it's an ego thing. It's dealing with the ego.
Ego, yeah.
All right.
And a big part of our gender identity, men are supposed to be providers. If a man is romantically involved with a woman, he will often be there for the kids. But once that relationship breaks up, a lot of men leave when those relationships break up. And a lot of today, people are not marrying at the same rate they married. Since the 1960s, the marriage rate has continued to go down in America. So marriage has less significance. Women are having children out of wedlock. So the relationship with the family is a lot more tenuous. So it's not as stable as it had been in years past. So men can you know, be present or not be present, and they feel like it makes no difference at all. But they need to understand that they're leaving a legacy, a very negative legacy behind when they choose to be absent from their children's lives.
So what can we do to stem the negative effects of a young man being raised without his dad? What can we do as a society to stem the negative effects?
That's a good question. Like, you know, like I mentioned before, my godfather, having mentors in place for these young men, going to like the boys club. Sometimes it's your coach. If they play in organized sports, it's the coach that plays a father figure. So if we can have these positive male role models so that they don't align themselves with the streets and seek out their peers for this sort of sense of inclusion, these are things that can help buffer and mediate the fact that these men are not stepping up to responsibility to be fathers. But one of the biggest things I encourage men to do is to stop dropping out of their kids' life and to reconnect with their kids, because this is something that will have a dramatic impact on the outcomes of these children.
Why should they reconnect? You know, I mean that's supposed to be a rhetorical question, of course. You know, but like you said, if the woman, I think the woman plays a very important role.
Sure, she
does.
I
really do, because I think that we allow men to get away with too much. I think that the woman Now, I know you all can probably be upset with Dr. T,
Dr.
but
T.
I think that we allow men to do what they do.
Yeah.
First of all, like you said, the children being born out of wedlock.
Yes.
You know, make them accountable. If you're gonna lay down with a woman,
Right.
you know, you should be married. Those are my strong beliefs. You should be married. Like you said, the marriage institution is dying.
It's dying. Yeah.
You know, there's no accountability.
Right.
People are, you know, there should be some accountability.
Absolutely.
Society doesn't even hold them accountable. It's like it's the norm. It's
Right.
okay. So I think it's not only just men being absent. I think society is saying, you know, just pay the bill.
Yeah.
Just go to the court, pay the bill, and I'm okay.
Right.
Like you made the statement, Eldon, that for a long time you didn't even realize that there was a problem with your father not being there. Why? Because you were eating, you had shelter, you had clothes, and everything looked normal because all the other kids in the neighborhood were running around like that.
Yes.
And then one day it dawned on you, hey, something is missing here.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? So right now, Eldon, you have children, right?
Yes.
So do you spend a lot of time with your children?
Yeah, I try to spend as much time with my daughter as I can.
You have a daughter?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Derek, do you have any children?
No children. A lot of nephews and nieces that I mentor
But you
and work
spend time with them?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And people that are not in my family, young folk in the community, the church where I go to, I work with the youth in that community. So I feel that we don't have to have children ourselves, but we have an obligation as being part of a community to give something back and to be mentors. I know that, but for the grace of God, it was people like that in my life that helped keep me on the straight and narrow. And without that type of presence, I know if these young boys are growing up without fathers, and the only figures they see out there, older males, are out there selling drugs and this and that, they're going to emulate that. So I like to offer them some type of counterbalance, you know, and I do work with young folks in the community and let them know that there's different ways of being a man and how you're going to be responsible. I got a friend I grew up with, and he went off into sold drugs for some years, and he got caught. He went to jail in Ohio. He spent about 7 years in the penal system. When he came out, he realized he could not get work with that felony conviction. So what he chose to do, his father helped, gave him some money, but he invested in himself and he started his own business. He cleaned up office space. This business is really thriving now. He has a son.
Okay.
And he's very active in raising his son, you know. But when he was out there selling drugs, that was a very different legacy he was passing on to his son.
Yes.
And then he goes to jail and he's absent from his son's life. But now he's making money in a productive and a constructive manner. He's his own entrepreneur and he's being there for his kids. So, you know, his kid is getting the right model right now. So people, you know, they get second chances.
Professor Willis, what kind of advice would you give to mothers raising their boys by themselves?
Oh, that's a good question, Dr. T. Good question. I would think keeping them involved in different activities. Like I said, if they're in sports or they have other extracurricular activities, if they can have male mentors around, because no matter how great, and I think women do phenomenal jobs, and they can do a great amount of things. But like I said, boys often still look towards males, and they help mentor them in ways. And so if you can find some people, and sometimes it's you have a brother who is really good, you know, and he's doing some things and he's close to you, make sure that your brother, you know, the kids' uncles is spending time with them to mentor them, make those opportunities available to them. So just having those male models around that can help him stay on the straight and narrow. So those type of exposures would go a great deal with reinforcing what she is already doing as a great mother.
Because, you know, one of the things I know for a fact that so many women, when they get involved with men, they have the mentality that, you know, I want you to take care of me and my kid, but they don't always allow the man to really get involved in the kid's life. They say they want them to, but it's not so much to instill values or be that male figure. Now, you may think this is just something, a farce, I'm just saying this, but I mean, do you find this to be true? Also, you know, Eldon, that, you know, when you've ever been with a woman and you try to get involved with her kid, she's saying, you know, you can provide for the kid, but don't tell my kid what to do. Don't touch my kid. You know, and these children, they need to know that there's a firm hand, because the man's going to have the firm hand.
That's right.
You know, I mean, from my experience, you know, being that my son is grown right now, I believe in my heart that I did an excellent job with my son. But I know that there was something lacking because I am not a man.
Right.
You know, I didn't even know how to teach my son, forgive me, how to tie a tie.
Right.
I didn't know how to tie a tie.
Right.
And another man had to come into his life and teach him how to tie a tie.
Sure.
You know, when he was experiencing things with the sexuality, he didn't come to me.
Right.
He did not come to me, although we're very close. So, you know, how do you handle things like that? You know, going back to the question I just asked about the mother, you know, and just let them know that we we need to really allow men, positive role models, when they come into their lives, allow them to be the man in their lives.
Yes.
Allow them to be the man. Yes.
Now, one thing that these men need to know, the older cousins, older brothers, uncles, I know you live in your own life, but you need to take the time out as well to get involved and get active.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You may stray away because you live in your own life, but if you know, you've been there.
Yes.
You grew up without a father too, so you know if you out doing, you handling your business, but you see that this person needs some guidance, it's not necessarily telling them what to do. Take them to a ball game or whatever. It's not even about money all the time. You know, you just get active. Be active with that person, you know, because you have to want to be involved and be that mentor because they look up to you. So if they look up to you and you're not giving them the, you know, the encouragement of you're not being there or being that role in their life and they seeing you as that role, they're going to turn to the streets and learn the wrong thing from somebody that's accepting. You know, they may feel that you accepting them, but you may not have time.
That's right.
And most of them don't even have their own children.
Right. And they have plenty of time, but there's just being self. Like, you know, the old African adage, it takes a whole village to raise a child.
That's right.
You know, and we talk about the men, but when men are absent from the home, being fathers, it's also going to impact the girls.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, because with the girls, their daddy is their first love.
That's right.
It's going to be the first example of how a man should treat them. So the man being absent from the home, the father, that important father figure being absent from the home is destroying the African American family, the African American legacy.
Yes, it can
and
lower her
We
standards.
have a very big epidemic on our hands.
That's right. That's right. That's right. She may have lower standards about what she expects out of a man if the man, her father, wasn't in her life, and she's looking for affection and affirmation in all the wrong places. So now she's dealing with men that she shouldn't be dealing with who don't have her best interests at heart. And she's willing to accept this because, again, this is what she grew up seeing, and she didn't have that type of love and validation through a healthy relationship with her own father. So you're right. You impact your sons and daughters by being absent in their lives.
Do you have something you want to say,
I feel that if a woman's dealing with a man, she has children, and she been with this man for a while, even though those are not his biological children, you know. Just because they have their own differences in their relationship, she shouldn't cut him off from the children if the children look up to him. If he didn't do anything to harm you or your children, and he trying to be there, he want to be there because he developed a love for your children through the relationship that y'all had, just because y'all relationship ended, don't mean his relationship with your children had to end. Because they look up to that man, now he look at them as they was his, even though y'all not together.
Cannot be selfish. You've got to think about the welfare and the well-being of the kids.
That's right.
And you know, you're absolutely right.
That's right.
You're absolutely right. You know, and I really do believe that because you are on this show right now, and the people who are listening to the message that you're all giving, I believe that's going to have an impact. Because we need to change. We need to change our mindsets and understand that it's not about you. It's about these kids, because our boys, they're our future. They're supposed to be the head. They're going to be the leaders of tomorrow. If they don't have anyone to follow, how can they lead? I'm going to say that again. If they don't have anybody to follow, then how will they be able to lead?
That's right.
We have a real epidemic on our hands.
That's right.
We need to really just come in together as a community and get involved. Like I said about the old African adage, it takes a whole village to raise a child. It takes an even bigger village when you're dealing with a man, because it's a big responsibility. We'll be back in a few moments with my inspirational thoughts for today. Thank you.
You're sleeping on Rough Dog Entertainment. The package, the album, is in stores right now, featuring songs like Facebook Pro, D-Boy Thing, and we know y'all love that Chevy Sitting High. You can also download it on iTunes or Amazon. And check us out on Facebook, Moco Space, and YouTube. Rough Dog ENT. RUFFDOGGENT.
Wouldn't you like to know who the father is? For professional DNA testing that costs less than a do-it-yourself kit called DNA Dimensions. It's easy. With a simple swab of the mouth, you can put all doubt to rest. Confidential results in 3 business days. DNA Dimensions, with convenient locations in Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties. Walk-ins welcome in Detroit and Flint. Call toll-free 855-DNA-TEST. That's 855-362-8378. DNA Dimensions, removing all doubt.
Experience this life-changing story that will leave you refreshed, renewed, and inspired to face life's most challenging times. This is a comma, not a period in your life, by Dr. Tanisha Ford. You will never look at sickness and other life's challenges the same again. This is a comma, not a period in your life, by Dr. Tanisha Ford. Go to www.drtford.com to order today.
Rough Dog ENT showing you so much love that you can download our mixtape 2.5 for free. That's right, for free on datpiff.com. Rough Dog Entertainment showing you so much love that you can download our mixtape 2.5 for free on datpiff.com. That's DATPIFF.com. 3.0 coming soon. Rough Dog Entertainment.
Welcome back to my inspirational thought for the day. The Word of God says that love covers a multitude of faults. And we live in a world where there are many, many faults. And the only way that we're going to experience healing and restoration is to understand that there's a living God who exercises real love. And the only way the world is going to change through that living God is if we start loving ourselves by knowing that he loves us first. And when we understand that he loves us first, then we'll understand how important it is to love each other. This world is not going to change by the economic status. It's not going to change by people getting with this person or that person. It's going to change by understanding that love is the answer to everything. Perfect love covers all things. Perfect love casts out all fear. Love is not selfish. Love doesn't think about itself. Love is a thing where you can express who you really are and be yourself. This is the time to grab a hold of love and express it to the world in a real way. When you do that, you'll begin to experience healing and restoration in your own personal lives, in your families, in your communities. This is Dr. Tanisha Ford saying, you have a purpose in life. When you discover your own uniqueness, you'll discover true happiness. God bless.